can't let nothing get in my way. I know you hear me when I pray. I know that I'm not perfect, yeah, I make mistakes. I need you to be there for me every step of the way, yeah, cause there's a blessing with my name on it. Hey, you know that I need it, Lord. Show me how to get it, Lord. I'm barely eating, Lord. Trying to feed my people, Lord, yeah, cause there's a blessing with my name on it. Ooh, hey, you know I receive it, yeah, I believe it, yeah. This year will be my year. I claim, hey, yeah, I claim. Oh, yeah, yeah. This year will be my year. I claim it, yeah. I claim it. This year will be my year. Yeah. I've been putting work in, yeah, tryna make my dreams come true. I know I get impatient. My family and my babies, they waiting on me to come through. Pressure on every level, issues I got several. Trying not to settle, I wanna be successful. I can't be a failure, but it get kinda hard trying to keep it all together. There's a blessing with my name on it. You know that I need it, Lord. Show me how to get it, Lord. I'm barely eating, Lord. Trying to feed my people, Lord. There's a blessing with my name on it. Hey, you know I receive it, yeah. I believe it, yeah, yeah. This year will be my year. I claim.
Good morning. Good morning. It is Friday. It is Friday. I am super excited. And ladies and gentlemen, the exciting part about today is this ends our second season. Our second season of Fab Five. So we thank you all for rocking with us. We thank you for standing in agreement with us. We thank you for all the prayers, all the encouragement. We could not do this without you. So we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Enough words is not enough to tell you our appreciation that it's some of y'all every single morning. We can guarantee you're going to be on. Like, it's no if, no ands. We can guarantee you rocking with us. And not only do you rock with us, you tell others about us. So we appreciate you. And we know if it was good, what my grandma say, if it was good season 2, it only get gooder. It only get gooder. It only get better. So we are super excited. We have some special things to bring with you on this ending our season 2. You know, we had to go out a little extra. You know, it wouldn't be us if we didn't sprinkle some extra on it. So we had to bring some extra. So come on, P. Let's go and get them in.
Now, listen, we cannot end season 2 without a toast. So I need to know what you're working with. Raise your glass. I need to know what's in this cup. Let's go. We are toasting to a finale. Come on, y'all. If you're behind this screen, we're toasting to a finale. Let me read y'all the definition of a finale. The finale is the last piece of a part of composed music, a performance or a public event. Get this, y'all. Especially when it's particularly dramatic or exciting. When I tell you we're going out with a bang, we're going out of season 2 with a bang. This is what we're sipping on today, a finale. Sometimes things come to an end, but baby, if it's going to end, it's ending on a good note. It's ending on a blessing. It's ending on favor. It's ending in excitement. So good morning, everyone that is watching this broadcast. We are sipping on excitement and a performance, honey, that is exciting and dramatic. When you invite people into the broadcast, because we do this every day, you have to invite people. You have to let people know what we're doing. People are following you. You are a leader socially. So when you're inviting people, you're tagging people this morning, let them know, listen, this is the season finale. You have to watch this. I don't know if you haven't watched in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months. This may be your first time, but you always want to catch the finale. So listen, make sure you're sipping on finale today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, happy fabulous Friday, happy favor-filled Friday, happy faith-filled Friday. Y'all, today is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and we are glad in it. It's your girl, Terry Y. Hicks, and it is now time for our daily dose of hope. And today's dose of hope comes from something that I saw on TV yesterday. Okay. So I am watching this show on Disney Plus about these people that live in the Alaska wilderness, and they're trying to find their way through the Alaska wilderness and make a life for themselves. Don't remember the name of the show, but anyway, one part of the show, this guy says that he said, I may have reached my breaking point, but I'm not broken. Let me say that again. He said, I may have reached my breaking point, but I'm not broken. Job said it this way: though he slay me, yet will I trust him. And I believe that's because Job understood the promise that is found in Isaiah 49:23 that says, those who trust in the Lord will not be disappointed. If you put your trust in God, you will not be disappointed. So my encouragement and hope for you today on the season finale of the Empowered Morning Show is simply this: you may reach your breaking point, but baby, you are not broken. This has been your morning dose of hope, and now I want you to get ready for my girl Sparkle, who is bringing Morning Mirror Talk.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a celebration. So this weekend some people get some extra days off, and I want to put it out on this celebration time. If you have some extra days off work, take some moment and celebrate you. Take a moment, not just a moment, but take some moments and celebrate you. Celebrate you that you did not break. Celebrate you that you are pushing through despite what life might seem like, might feel like. I want you to celebrate you. It's a season finale, so you got to stop and reflect. Reflect on the goodness of Jesus Christ and how you made it through, how you're holding up, the changes that you have made, the mindset that you have made. Get you a cupcake, put a candle in it, light it, and celebrate you. This weekend, take some moments and celebrate you. Take some moments and pat your own self on the back. Take some moments and just smile in the mirror at you. Just smile at you. Tell you, I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. I thank you for being you, and I thank you for being so awesome. This has been your Mirror Talk with Sparkle. Next, we will have our Financial Friday.
Good morning. Marshall Weeks here with you on Financial Friday. Ecclesiastes 3:1 states, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity. So how does this relate to our money? Do we recognize the season we're in financially speaking? We may be in the season of building a budget, building an emergency fund, building our savings. We may be in a season of planting, investing monthly to reap a harvest in retirement, building a business, or sowing the seeds for promotion. We could be in a season of uprooting and removal, examining our spending, removing expenses that are not a priority, or removing ourselves from environments that do not support our financial goals. It is important to know where we are right now and to recognize what season we're in so we can be on time for what God is trying to do in our lives. So we need to recognize where we are financially and make sure we are taking the proper actions so we don't miss out on our time to reap the harvest. You've been empowered because you should prosper.
Welcome, everybody. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Can you see me?
Excellent. Okay, that means it's a real good Friday, y'all. Technology is working in my favor today because it's Favorite Food Friday. Y'all, today is a celebration. If you've missed it, first of all, welcome to the Empowerment Morning Show. Thank you all for joining us. If this is your first time here, we're so glad you're here. Please be sure to like, share, comment, get all in the chat today because it's going to be a great day. If you all have noticed, we have two very special guests with us today, and it's because it is our season 2 finale. Can somebody get excited that we have reached the end of season 2 of the Empowered Morning Show? And y'all, we have been making history all month long because up until June, we had not had any men on our show. Can you believe it? And it's not the Empowered Women Show, it's the Empowered Morning Show. So we decided in June that we would feature empowered men all month long. But today, we're making history even further because this is our first time ever having 2 guests. And there are 2 male guests on our show to close out the season 2 finale. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. And we're going to just jump right into the topic. So, gentlemen, if you could, and before I say that, let me say this. Today is a family affair, y'all. Okay, so one of our guests is Mr. Sherman M. Brown III, and I have learned that he goes by Trey. And he is the son of our wonderful, amazing Monica G, who was actually a guest on the show back in March. Okay, and she's a Fab Five favorite. Okay, so that's why we're all excited. Her son is here with us today, and you will find out in just a second that one of these names sound really familiar, and it's because the other guest is Darryl A. Hicks Sr., who is my uncle and my godfather. So we are so excited to have them on the show. Gentlemen, would you take just a moment? I'm going to start with you, Trey, to just introduce yourself. Just tell us a teeny bit about you, a little 10-second introduction.
Hey. First, I want to give honor to God. But my name is Sherman Brown. I'm currently a law student. I'm 27 years old. And I just want to say, I guess I have big dreams and big aspirations. So I can't say that I've done the most yet, but I'm doing some big things.
Excellent. That's come on. That's snap worthy right there. That is snap worthy, Uncle Tony.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darryl Hicks, and I'm a financial advisor, but I say all the time that God put me on this planet to be a bridge builder. So I do a lot of things with community service, and my goal is to help people.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, we're so happy and so grateful that you said yes to being a part of our show today. We're going to get right into it because I have a few questions for you. I know the Fab Five wants to get into the conversation. So my first question is, both of you mentioned your dreams, your visions, your goals, what you believe God put you here to do. What was your reason for wanting to get into government or community leadership in the first place? Whoever wants to jump in there first.
Go ahead, Sherman. I'll yield to you.
So I think what first inspired me to want to get into government is me seeing how things kind of work and me wanting to inflict change. Oftentimes we are burdened by the legislation that the government puts out or the senators and different, you know what I'm saying? So being able to be involved in that and have a say so and understand what's going on and how this affects our community is what really made me want to get involved.
And for me, Sherman is spot on. Ever since I was a small child, I remember saying when I was 12 years old, I wanted to be mayor of Atlanta. And then after a successful career in corporate America, I decided to run for government. I was in charge at the time of government relations for my company, and I noticed that most of the people at the Capitol here in Georgia, and I was also in D.C., but particularly here in Georgia, where at some point the mission became about them. Although they said they wanted to serve people, and I believe them, but at some point they crossed that line, if you will, and it became more about them. I thought to myself, if these are the type of people that are going to serve us, they're not doing a very good job at it. And some of them really are, but a lot were not. And I thought to myself, then why not me? Why not? Why shouldn't I get involved in government and change and affect people and inspire people and move them to where God wants them to be. So that's how I made that decision. I wanted to serve.
I love that. And I will just speak on that for a little bit. I remember when you were running for Secretary of State and then Department of Labor Commissioner or the Labor Commissioner. And I remember as we were out campaigning and doing all of those things, of course, everybody has something to say about politicians and how politicians are dishonest and you can't trust them. You can't trust anybody in government. And I'm like, well, look, I know this one personally. So when we were making those calls to people, we were doing the cold calls, talking to people about, wanting to secure their vote. It was important for me to be able to say that I knew you had the right intention, the right heart, because I know you personally. And it was important that people understood that there are people who really do want to see change in our world, change in our government, change in our community, who do have the right intentions, who do have the authentic, genuine desire to see change, to want to make the world a better place, as we all like to say, but really do want to do that. And, you weren't in it for self and those kind of things. So I've always appreciated that about you. And so my next question, of course, we're here and this show is open to everybody, but you all are both Black men. So we're going to go there for a second. How important is it or how do you become an empowered Black male? Because you all are both very, very awesome. And that's why you're here on the show. Trey, with you being in law school, wanting to get into the legal system and make the changes that you see fit, or wanting to help, push the legal system in the right direction, or just make your own contributions in that way. And Uncle Tony, with you being in community leadership and just all of the tons of things that you've done in the community, how important is it being an empowered Black male, and what does that mean to you?
You can go first, Uncle Tony.
So for me, it really is all about, what we can do for others. Look, as a Black man, I understand the dynamics that I have to go through. And let me first say that when you got a young person like Sherman who has decided to spend his time helping people, government, and going to law school, that's exactly where you got to be. Because as Black men, we have to be at the table. We have to be at a position where we help set policies. It's real easy for us to talk about what should be happening in America. And most of the time, when I hear people talk about that, and then I discover that they don't even vote, I'm discouraged because it's easy to talk. It is much harder to get in the game. And all of you heard this. Look, if you're not at the table, you're the menu. I'd rather be at the table helping set the policies so that we as Black people, Black men, but Black people in particular, have a voice where we can set policies that affect us. And that's what I drive for. I happen to be a Black man. That's what God made me. And so in that role, I will serve it to the best of my ability, where I help people every single day of my life.
Amen. I couldn't say it better myself. But yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of what he said, I think what makes you an empowered Black man, or what you need, is that self-confidence and fighting for what's right. I think that is the most important part, I guess, to me, in the journey is fighting for something bigger than yourself, knowing that there's people out there that really do need you, and they don't even know that they need you. Putting, God first and saying, hey, I'm going to do my best to make this a better place for not just me, but for those who come after me.
If I can add something else too, because at Sherman, if he hasn't started yet with a family, this was important to me. I remember saying to myself, I will never, ever do anything that causes me to be away from my family, my children, my wife. I'm not going to compromise my morals. I'm not going to steal, lie, and cheat. I'm going to do whatever it takes so that when my kids wake up in the morning, they have their father there. And it was important for me to be a positive Black man, but a father for my children, and to be there for my children and help them with as they transition into adulthood.
I love that. I love that. Empress in the comments said hashtag real man, and I could not agree more. And that's why we have you all here. You all are such empowered Black men. Sherman, I love your shirt, by the way, that says Black Lawyers Matter. I don't know if y'all can see his shirt, but it says Black Lawyers Matter. And so that is exactly, what we're talking about here. And so we're so thankful for you all sharing that. And Uncle Tony, you mentioned talking about voting and participating in voting. So you're all in my next question. My next question is, we all know that the elections are coming up. So how important is it to participate in that way, in voting? Let's talk to the people who may be on the fence about voting or may feel like, this idea of it's the lesser of two evils. So I'd just rather not participate at all. So what are you all's thoughts on voting, and how do people get involved? How involved should people be with that?
Vote. Get out, go vote. And not just the presidential elections, but I've said before that the real elections that matter are the ones that are in your own community. Who's the superintendent of your children's schools, and who's your local mayors and your governors and things like that. We never get involved. We really need to start getting involved. Like he was saying, it's really easy to have or bring up constant problems and always have an issue when you're not getting involved in the fight, when you're not actually going out and doing something. It's not beneficial whatsoever. Get out and vote.
Spot on, Sherman. Man, I like you. You are a young man who understands the importance of voting. Look, I've chaired the election board here in my county, and firsthand knowledge around the fact that in our last election, which was a runoff election for a state representative, of 44,000 people that could have voted in that election, 1,800 determined the outcome of that race. Only 1,800, a little over 1,800 determined the outcome in that race. Now, tell me what happens when that's the case. That means only a small percentage of people determine who set policies for us. And then we have 90% of the people complaining about the policies when they didn't even go out and vote. So I cannot overstress this importance of it's good to march in the streets. I think we absolutely should do it. It is great to protest. I think we absolutely should do it. But by the way, we lost affirmative action yesterday because we got 3 new Supreme Court justices that was appointed by somebody that had an agenda. Had we voted, that might not have been the case. I cannot overstress this. It's great to be in the barbershop and have those discussions. But if you're not voting, you're really not helping. You're just talking.
I love that. Somebody needs to put that in the comments. If you're not voting, you're not helping. You're just talking. My parents said it this way. They've always taught my sisters and I, don't come to the table with the problems unless you also bring the solutions. And so for that reason, we're highly solution-oriented people, because we understand that you're not going to come to the table with the problem unless you also bring the solution. Otherwise, you're just complaining, and nothing happens with complaints, right? You got to also be a part of the solution. So I love that. And with that said, thank y'all for answering my questions. I'm not going to open it up to the rest of the Fab Five. So y'all jump on in here with your questions, thoughts, all that good stuff.
I have a question for you, gentlemen. I really want to pose a concern. How do we transition the concern for Black men in our society to be involved and actually getting them involved, right? So we have a lot of discussions on what Black men need, what Black men are not doing. Black men maybe may not be voting. We look at the polls, we see Black women are voting in one direction and Black men are coming out in smaller numbers and voting in a different direction. And I want to know that gap, the gap of wanting Black men to be empowered, but then actually helping them get to the place where they can become empowered, getting them from the barbershop into the polls, because Black men congregate at the barbershop, they congregate at the basketball court. This is where they're having those deep conversations. They congregate at the gym, they congregate where Black men congregate. How do we transition? How do we move over and make progress in that area?
So, I would say that it's kind of twofold. First part of it is we have an opportunity to get to our young people, and I'm talking our young kids, 10, 9, 8, whatever the case is, our young Black men, and the rest of us, the older Black men, have to figure out a way to go back and mentor them. Look, there are all kind of mentoring programs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I've been involved with them all. But we've got to find that place where we have what I call, and I used to say this to my son all the time. Look, son, I'm trying to get you prepared to transition into manhood. So I'm constantly talking to him about things about transitioning. So I follow up with encouragement by saying, hey, Darryl, that was a transition move. That move moves you closer to manhood, and I'm glad you've done that. Hey, Darryl, by the way, what you did here doesn't get you there. In fact, it holds you where you are. So we got to reach our young people any way we can. Here in Fayette County, we created a program called a pretrial diversion program where we intercept young boys in the criminal justice system with low offenses, and we start mentoring them. Different than a regular mentoring program. These are kids that are already entering the system, change their mindset. And then the second part of that for me is, how do we deal with the older Black men? We've got to find ways to encourage them and get them where they feel empowered. They feel like they belong and they feel like they're offering something. We've got to find ways to meet them there, whether that's through policy setting or whether that's through the barber shop owner talking about it. And we're constantly encouraging, and your programs that help us do that.
Thank you. Trey, same question.
I think he's spot on. I think first you have to target the younger generation of who will be the next generation of voters. I was blessed to have a mom and a dad who imparted certain things in me as a young child, and just kind of surveyed the world for me and told me really like, all right, this is what it is. You have an ability to do certain things, do your best. I think imparting that into your kids early is more than you will ever know. We really have to attack the problem while it's small. We shouldn't wait till people are 50, 60, 70 years old to be like, why are you not voting? No, there should have been a push to start getting involved when this person was 10, when this person was 13, when this person first got into the world. I think that goes back to the point that we were making before. I don't think you can keep bringing up the issue when we're not attacking the problem when it's small. Going to the second point of getting grown men into voting, I think it's providing a space to where they do feel comfortable. A lot of times we can be stubborn, but it's letting us know that you too do have a voice. Looking at the aggregate of, all right, you are, yes, we always make this thing of, well, one vote doesn't matter. Well, if everybody across the world is thinking the same thing or across the country, look at how much that changes. When he was talking about the election that he experienced where it was only 1,800 votes. When you look at how many people probably said, we'll be all right, they don't need me, that one vote ain't gonna do nothing, and ended up swaying a whole election. We have to know that our vote matters. Like, everybody needs to go out and participate.
Amen. Thank you.
So I would like to jump in. We do talk a lot about what's wrong, what we don't like, how things are. But since you all have been in government, in politics, in, law school, what have you seen that has actually made you proud? What change have you seen, or what's going on that has actually made you feel like, I'm glad I jumped in here to make this difference?
So I'm part of the Black Law Student Association at my school, and So as lawyers, only around 5% of all lawyers are African American. So I go to a small school in South Carolina, and the school is only about 4% Black. When I tell you those 4% of Black people put on for our people, man, and it's just seeing like, yes, I know it's taking so much for us to get here, and we'll constantly say you got to do twice as much to get half of what they got. And just seeing the amount of work we put in, not just for our own education, but just around the, you know what I'm saying, to local schools and giving back and donating books. And I think that has truly made me proud to be one of the number.
So, you know, I've been around a while now, and I've seen some really, really positive, effective Black leaders in government. I really have. And there are a lot of them out there. There are folks at the federal level, state level, and the local level. They give everything they have. And here's when I know that it's working for them and they're genuine about it. Here's when I know it. I have this saying that I say, when you become bigger than the cause, failure is imminent. It is going to happen. And most of the time with elected officials, when you see that failure, they become bigger than the cause. They become bigger than what they started out serving as. And there are folks I can just think of a lot of folks who are about the business of setting policies that help people. And so they don't get into this space where they're trying to set something that helps themselves, enrich themselves, empower themselves, whatever the case may be. They're constantly thinking about, how does this affect the people, and how do I make sure that they can have an advantage by this policy, and they do it well. And you can just walk down the line and you can see that in your community. Just watch it. It's not the person who's doing all the talking. It's the person who's actually doing all the studying and all of the writing and all of the effective things that you have to do behind the scenes to make sure that you get district voted in your community, to make sure that economic development affects everybody and not just a small few. So it really, I've seen a lot of them, and I'm impressed with those who are smart about it and intelligent about policy setting.
Excellent. Sparkle or Regina, either one of you ladies have a question you want to throw in here? I do see a few in the comments, so I wanted to give you a chance before I jump to the comments. Regina, is your hand up?
Can you guys?
Well, Trey,
But I think she's frozen.
okay. So I want to first say thank you all for making a difference. It's not, it's common for us to be football players, basketball players, different own our own business, but it's not many times that we are pushing, come out to the community, make a difference in the community, become a lawyer. I mean, Trey just said it's 4%. It's 4% of Black men in his school, and they're coming and making triple. They're having to do triple work to make a difference. So I know, Trey, I have heard a lot of your upbringing, but what do you think the most impact of your upbringing that your parents got you prepared to speak to audience and be able to make people understand, get your point across without arguing? Because a lot of times when people want to get their point across, they feel like they got to holler, they got to scream, they got to, what do you think your parents did to prepare you for where you're going, besides making it known that you got to make a difference? What did they give you?
So my mom, for those who know my mom, everything with my mom is a production. So from time I was 3, I have been in productions. I have been in different things where I've been public speaking, where I've been on stages, and it's just something that, being Monica's son, that's just something that you're gonna do. Like I don't know any different. With the communication thing, though, I think that has just been something that I've learned over time that it doesn't help. I think part of that does come from my parents. Just like everybody else, my parents argue. So seeing that and being like, yeah, this is not getting anywhere. Like nobody like I feel like this is probably a lot easier than it is, but both sides are just so emotional. And I think a lot of times when cooler heads prevail, I think a lot of times that the point gets across a lot better. Um, and I think it's one thing just to want to listen. Everybody always wants to be heard, but we have a problem, not just in the Black community, but everybody with listening and listening to hear, not listening to respond.
Right.
Yes.
That is spot on, Sherman. I'll tell you a little story. I used to hate getting up speaking. I remember doing my Easter speech in church when I was little. I hated it with a passion and didn't do very well. I can't say when I made the transition, only because I think it was always an innate behavior for me to be able to connect with people. So somewhere along the way, with my mother and my family members just constantly putting me out there to speak, I learned how to speak in public. But here's what I've learned about how to deal with the emotions and the conflict. Look, Terry will tell you this. I'm an even kill person, and I truly believe that a calm voice curbs wrath. And so every time I get into that place where it's really heated, I just try to be calm. I listen, and then I respond with it with calmness. And I'll just give you this example, and I'll close with this. I remember when I first did my campaign speech, and we were at a rally, and it was my first time ever running, and everybody was giving out these rah-rah speeches, and I'm not a rah-rah speech kind of guy. So they throwing out all of the red meat to get the audience excited. It's about 6 of us in that race. I was the last one. And in that, I everybody was clapping for everybody else. And when I got up and spoke, I said, look, here's what I want to do. Here's my credentials. Here's how I think I'm qualified to be Secretary of State of Georgia. And here's what I plan to do on my campaign. Nobody clapped. It was quiet as crickets. But one person came up to me afterwards and said, Darryl, you know what? That makes sense to me. And then before that campaign was over, everybody was putting out their scorecard and trying to talk in a calm manner to deal with it. A calm voice curbs wrath.
Yes. So my second question is, I know in the Black community, we have a lot of people that have felonies and different things on their record. And how do you reach out to those, because they're saying I can't vote because of mistakes that I have made in the past, even though we know it's other ways to get past it? But how do you encourage them to go and get their rights back even after some things in life have happened? What's your encouragement for those? Because I have spoken with a lot of them and they're like, it doesn't matter. I get hit for everything. It still pull up on my criminal record and it happened 12 years ago. So how do you encourage those men?
I think I try every single day to encourage them. Look, it's a difficult task for them. Until the policies are changed, it is very difficult for somebody to go and get their rights back to vote. They have to make an effort. They have to go through a process. And so I think we need more programs out there that helps walk them through that process, where they can call a number, if you will, and the person or the people on the other end of that line helps walk them through the process of getting their rights back. There needs to be a nonprofit out there that does that. I'm sure there probably is. And then the second thing would be, once you try to encourage them to do that, and it's difficult, but they just have to walk, because in that election that I talked about, the person won by 14 votes. So every vote counts. Out of 44,000 votes, he won by 14 votes. The second part of that is we've got to be at the table to set policies so that when the folks complete their felony, whatever the felony charge was, complete their probation, automatically they get the right back to vote. That has to be a national policy that automatically they get the right to vote. And that's what young lawyers like Sean will probably help us do in the future.
Yeah, definitely. What he said is right on the money. I think also a lot of times there are situations where they don't ever get the right. Currently, they don't get the right to vote back. But I think it's letting them know that that there are young people that are going down the same path as you that you really can't affect before they get to this point. Before you know what I'm saying? Like we're going back and saying about the younger generation. There's somebody out there that, like I said, is going through the same path, it's going through the same troubles, may have the same troubled home life that you can impart in, that you can say, hey, this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I may not be able to vote on legislation, but I know one day you will be. You know what I'm saying? Because we're having this conversation, I know you won't make the mistake that I did. So I think it's each one teach one.
Excellent, excellent. Regina, did you have a question? I know your hand went up a while back.
Yes, can you guys hear me now?
Now we hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can y'all hear me? Okay, I have a question. What are some of the things that you would like to see make a change? And also, is there anything that you're doing now to work towards to make a change for our people?
So me, I would love to see a change in the justice system. More more than you know. Just how we were talking about getting your voting rights back, and just how things seem to follow us. You make one mistake and it seems to haunt you 20 to 25 years, if not longer. Seeing the disparities in how we are policed in our communities. Seeing, like I said, legislation, and how there's currently legislation out there that does us, our community, no good. I would love to see a change, and that's why I'm in law school. That's why I am pushing forward and want to have a career in politics, so I can make that change. I am super involved, like I said, in the Black Law Student Association, and in trying to show kids that it's possible. Before I went to law school, I'd never seen a Black lawyer before other than TV. I never met one. But I know that there's kids out there now, because they've talked to me, that that's not the case for them. They're saying, hey, like, this is, you know what I'm saying? He's down to earth guy. This doesn't seem like he's, you know what I'm saying, so off to being killed that I can't be this, that I can't do this too. So yeah, I think it's going back to the each one teach one mentality.
You know what I'd like to see change? I'd like to see term limits up and down the ballot. From the local elected official all the way up to the Supreme Court justice. Now, I realize what I'm saying, and I realize to change the Constitution at certainly at the federal level, it will be much more difficult to do that. But here's my belief. My belief is that we need to make room for the young people. And I get the importance of having historical knowledge. I understand the value of that. So we need to be deliberate about how we make changes there. But I believe that change is term limits. How do I think I can help make a change? By doing what I'm doing, sitting at the table and helping set policies. Sitting at the table to make sure that our community gets its fair share of services in our community. Sitting at the table making sure that our young Black men doesn't get caught up in this criminal justice system that Sean is talking about. By the way, that would be one of my suggestions for change as well, the criminal justice system. It really is about being able to sit there and affect change. So my suggestion would be for Black men, Black women too, find a way to sit at the table. Fairly now, not find a manipulative way to get there, but find a way where your credentials are valued at the table.
Excellent. And so we do have time for, thank you, gentlemen, for answering the questions from the Fab Five. We do have time for a couple of questions from our comment section. And so one comes from Jocelyn Williams, who says she is the very proud godmother of one of our guests, Mr. Sherman Brown, known as Trey. And she says her question is, how would you advise a young person to get involved in the community if they don't know what to do?
I would say if they don't know what to do, look, it's pretty easy. If if they can't go to their parents and the parents don't know, or they really don't have a relative that knows, I'd go up to a community leader and ask the community leader, how should I get involved? That's some of the stuff that I did when I was young. I talked to people that were in leadership, and I talked about what they would do. Now, I had members in my family who were in the political arena, so I could ask them questions. But I would encourage them to ask their parents, ask their community leaders, relatives, just ask the question, no matter where you can get the answer from. And I'm sure they got people around them, whether they realize it or not, that can help encourage them and show them how to get involved in politics. And I promise you this, if you ask a politician, they like to talk, so they'll tell you.
Yeah, agreed. If the one is there, definitely. It's all around. So asking parents, asking your Black school teachers, or it doesn't even have to be that. Like, our community consists of a vast amount of people. So yeah, I think any way that you can. We're on social media now. That there's a groups. You know what I'm saying? So where there's the will, there's a way.
Absolutely. There is just not an excuse for a lack of knowledge and information in this day and age, because everywhere you look, from TikTok to YouTube, you can get the answer you need for just about anything. Okay. So literally 99.99% of things, there's an answer out there somewhere. So I think the bottom line to what they're both saying is just ask the question. Just ask the question. Don't be afraid to ask. I love that. So, gentlemen, we're almost out of time. Not quite yet, but I do want to give you all some time to share your closing thoughts and final statements with us. Anything you want to say that can be, because this is the Empowered Morning Show. So what empowering thoughts do you want to leave with our audience and those who will come back to watch the replay today? And so I'm going to give each of you about 3 minutes to give your final thoughts.
So my final thoughts would be, find a child, impart something in them. Continuously we can talk about what's going wrong, but if you're able to address the problem where it lies before it becomes a monster, before it becomes egregious, then you are making the biggest difference. A lot of the problems that we have can be solved at a young age. So if we're able to go out, find youth, coach a local football team, do something and involve yourself in something bigger than yourself, you can be impactful. Even you. Yes. Even you. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
So I first of all, let me thank Empowered Morning for allowing both Sean and I to be on your program. It's important to understand, as a Black man, what we offer to our communities. We have an opportunity to change the world. We really do. And we have an opportunity to do it in a very positive way. We've just got to be very thoughtful about the fact that we have this ability. God gave it to us. I mentioned earlier that I believe God put me on this earth to be a bridge builder. And so I spend my life trying to serve people. And I'm just as human as anybody else. And I have to remind myself sometimes that when I become bigger than the cause, failure is imminent. I said that before. That is the case. And so I regroup. And I try to understand what my value is. And here's what I know. I'm never going to get rich doing it. not in the sense of what I'm talking about, service. I'm not going to get rich in doing it in the sense of money, but I'm going to get extremely rich in terms of what legacy that I leave for the next generation. So everything I do it this way. And I tell my son this all the time. I tell my son at 23 that there's a 50-year-old man, you, waiting in the future. And that 50-year-old man has no control over his life. In fact, you have all the control over his life. He's dependent on you to make the right decisions, the right choices, so that he can take care of his family. And so what I do today is all about, in my case, the 80-year-old man that's waiting on me to take care of my family. But not only that, to be a positive impact so that his life and his family and all of his friends' lives in the future will be a better place. So I serve. I serve with that mentality in the sense that I want to be a blessing to others. And that's the will that God has for me. Thank you all for allowing me to participate today.
I love that. I love that so much. My heart is just over here just glowing. Okay. I love it. Trey said something so important. Trey said, even you. So my final thoughts on this, if you will. Trey said, even you. So that means we are all important. We all matter. We all have the potential to make a difference, but you don't make a difference by wishing to make a difference. You make a difference by getting up and actually doing it. As Uncle Tony said, by making sure you have a seat at the table, by getting involved, by participating, by not standing back and just complaining about what's wrong and all the things that are not going the way you think they should go, but having a voice, getting involved. So even you can get involved, even you can make a difference. And then Uncle Tony said that you want to leave a rich legacy, that you want to think about you in the future, that 50-year-old you, that 75-year-old you, that 90-year-old you, that 23-year-old you. You want to make sure that you are making decisions and choices today that's going to impact the future you well, that's going to leave a legacy for those that are coming behind you, that they remember you well. And that is one of the things that I've always prayed for, that when my time comes, Lord, I just pray that I am remembered well. I pray that the relationships I have built, the things that I've done, the dreams I've tried to pursue, the visions that I've tried to bring into the earth, that people encounter those things and I am remembered well, not because of any great, wonderful, fantastic things I've done, but because I treated them well. I treated them with kindness. I treated them the way that I would want to be treated. I am remembered well for who I am. And so those are two great closing statements, gentlemen. We appreciate you so much for sharing your hearts with us. Did I not tell y'all they were empowered men? So they certainly came and empowered us today. I hope you all that are in the comments feel empowered. One person said, let me go back and find her comments. A Facebook user said, what a wonderful way to end the season. This conversation has been so inspiring. And I could not agree more. I think you said it for me, that this has been an amazing way to close our season 2 finale. So again, we want to say, Uncle Tony, or like we said this way, Darryl Hicks Sr. and Sherman M. Brown III, we want to say thank you so much for being a part of our show today, for helping us to close out our season 2 finale in a major way. I think that you all have left something, you all have deposited something that will leave a very lasting impression on not only us, but our audience and those who will come back and watch this replay for a very long time. So they weren't just talking today, y'all. They gave us some really good nuggets. So I hope you all go back and listen to this replay over and over again, because they gave us practical steps of things that we all can do to truly make change in our community, in our government, and ultimately in our world. So thank you all so much. Again, y'all, listen, this is the end of the Empower Morning Show for season 2, but we are not leaving you hanging. We're going to have amazing shows. Y'all already know we have picked out our favorite replays to show you all over the next 2 weeks, and then we're coming back bigger and better than ever July 10th. So make sure you save the date for July 10th. We will be right back here. But listen, don't leave us hanging out. We're going to be here over the next 2 weeks. You may not see us live and in person, but you're going to see us here every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune back in, find out what our favorite shows were over the course of season 2 so that you can be empowered over and over and over again, because we had a lot of great shows this season. You know, it is Friday, and I would put the Fab Five on the spot and ask them what their favorite show was, but I'm not going to do that to y'all because I know y'all were down for me. I would not put y'all in that deer to headlights moment, but what I will say is this: we have had some incredible shows. We've done some amazing things in the course of season 2. So you all make sure that you tune back into all of the things that we're doing over the next couple of weeks. You'll still hear from us in our individual shows. There are a lot of shows that are launching on the We Empower Network. And of course, we're not leaving you hanging today. Make sure that you tune in right after this for the broadcast from Reverend Pat, who's going to come with her daily devotional. And then at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Tammy Hill Thomas with the Power Up. So you got all the government talk today, all the community leadership talk today, and Tammy's going to follow that up with the Power Up, which is our version of a news show. Okay, if you have not tuned in, you need to tune in, because Tammy drops all the good stuff at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. So make sure you tune into that. And then tomorrow we have the You See Me podcast with none other than Tina Wynn. So make sure you're tuning into that at 4 p.m. And then, of course, our very own Coach P. Angela Jones, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Sunday School. And listen, once again, we will not be here live and in person on Monday, but still tune in, because we will be here. We just won't be here, okay? So make sure you all tune in 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Motivation Monday from the Empowered Morning Show. With that said, you all, it is a wrap for season 2. Are all hearts and minds clear? Excellent. So, Uncle Tony, I'm going to ask you to do the honor of closing our show out in prayer today.
Sure. If you pray with me, please. Father, thank you for this day. What a wonderful day it is, and a blessing to be here, to be a part of the Empower program. Thank you for these young ladies who is all inspiring, and they're about the business of serving your people. Thank you for giving them the wisdom and the guidance to do that. Father, we ask that you continue to bless us. Bless Trey. He is a super dynamic young man, but you know that already. Give him what he needs to continue his college time, his curriculum in law school. For all of our audience, I would ask that you bless them, give them the wisdom to serve you and to do your will. And I will close by saying this: thank you for loving us, and we love you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And with that said, you all, we'll see you all on July 10th. Happy ending to season 2, finale of the Empowered Morning Show. And as we say in the entertainment industry, that's a wrap. Happy Friday.
Go. Good night. Good day.
I claim it. This year will be my year. This year will be my year. I claim it. I really believe it in my heart. This year will be my year. I claim it. Yeah. I claim it. 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 Yeah. I claim it. 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 I claim it.